Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Ever get that feeling like you're chasing after that feeling of youth? Like if you could just hit reset, things would be so much different. Well, we're diving into that feeling today with the Ferryman. It's a mind-bending science fiction mystery. It explores a world where that reset button, actually exists. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoy this deep dive. And you can find a link to the book down in the description if you want to check it out.
Interesting.
So, okay, picture this. An isolated island, it's called Prospera, where everyone reverts back to being teenagers every 25 years.
Wow.
It's called reiteration, and it wipes their memories clean. Pretty tempting, right?
I mean, it sounds pretty great on the surface, but
But
but what happens to everything you've learned and loved and built? I mean, that's got to be the central dilemma of the book, right?
it is. It is. And at the heart of this is our main character, Proctor Bennett. He's a Ferryman. He guides people through this reiteration process. But things get a little complicated when he meets this young woman. She triggers a forbidden memory.
Ooh.
Yeah, and his carefully constructed world starts to unravel. He gets this cryptic message from his father. People are starting to disappear. His dreams are increasingly unsettling,
Unsettling how?
almost like they're memories from another life.
Wow, that's heavy stuff.
Yeah, and what really struck me about this was how the author doesn't make reiteration like a good or bad thing. It's very complex technology with profound consequences that really make you question, what is identity, what is memory, all that good stuff. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, what I think is so fascinating about The Ferryman is how it goes beyond just the individual and what it means for one person. It explores how society is structured around this technology. There's this whole underclass of support staff who don't get to reiterate, and they just age normally while they're serving these, eternally youthful prosplins. Really makes you think about the potential for exploitation and inequality that a system like that could create.
Absolutely. It's like the author is holding up a mirror to our world in a way where, access to resources and opportunities can be so unevenly distributed. And speaking of uneven distribution, let's talk about this mysterious group called the Arrivalists.
Okay.
They think that reiteration is leading humanity towards this spiritual awakening.
So they see it not just as science, but like a spiritual path.
Exactly.
That's interesting.
Yeah, a way to transcend the limitations of the physical body and merge with this, universal consciousness. It's almost like they see it as a form of enlightenment.
Huh. They're tapping into something deeper than just the science, I guess.
Right. It's like they're tapping into something much deeper. But let's get back to Proctor for a second. He starts having these incredibly vivid dreams. They're about this place called Oranios.
Uranios.
Yeah, it was this abandoned space mission launched centuries ago to find a new home for humanity. And guess what? Proctor was part of the original crew.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that's where things start to get really mind-bendy, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, because it really starts to blur those lines between reality and dreams. It makes you think that maybe Prospera is more than just a physical island.
Right.
It almost suggests that this Uranius mission created some sort of dream space, and that maybe Prospera actually exists within that space. It makes you question what's real and what's not.
Exactly. And then there's this bombshell about Proctor's mother. Turns out she's not dead. She's been working behind the scenes all this time, protecting him from the people who want to control the Uranios technology.
Oh, wow. Talk about a family reunion, huh?
Right. It adds a whole new layer of, intrigue to the story. Now we have to re-examine everything we thought we knew about Proctor, his past, his family. And the stakes are higher now, too. If his mom is going through all this trouble to protect him, the people she's up against must be incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely. And the book just keeps throwing these twists and turns at you.
It does.
It's like a puzzle box. Every chapter reveals another piece, and it makes you question everything.
Exactly. It's so good.
It really is. And what's so impressive is how the author weaves all these different elements together.
Yeah.
The science fiction of reiteration, this dream space idea, the mystery of Proctor's past, the Uranios mission, the political intrigue with the arrivalists and everyone who opposes them. It's all so cohesive and compelling, you can't put it down.
Absolutely. And just when you think you have a grasp on things, you get hit with another curveball. Proctor decides to leave Prospera with his mother, searching for a new home for these remaining Oranius colonists. But then, the ending hints that the entire story might actually be taking place within the dream space of Oranios.
Wow, that's a lot to unpack.
It is.
I mean, it's a brilliant ending, really. It leaves you with this lingering feeling of uncertainty, You're left wondering what's real and what's not, and it really makes you think about the nature of consciousness itself. It's like the author is inviting us to challenge our own perceptions of reality. and consider that maybe, just maybe, there's more to life than meets the eye.
It's one of those books that just sticks with you long after you've finished it. It really makes you ponder those big questions about existence.
Absolutely. What I find particularly clever is how the author uses this reiteration idea to explore the concept of second chances. It makes you think about the choices we make in life. Would we do things differently if we have the chance to start over, knowing what we know now?
It's such a great point. And it makes me wonder, what if we're already living in a kind of dream space, one that's shaped by our beliefs and our perceptions and our experiences? What if the key to living a more fulfilling and meaningful life is to become more aware of those narratives we create for ourselves and choose to rewrite them?
Wow, that's a really thought-provoking idea. And it's one of the reasons why I think The Ferryman is such a powerful book. It's not just entertaining, it really challenges us to question our assumptions about reality and identity and the nature of consciousness. It invites us to dive deep into these mysteries of our own being and explore the infinite possibilities within us.
I couldn't have said it better myself, but before we really dive into the more philosophical and spiritual implications of The Ferryman, let's take a closer look at the world the author built. I mean, they paint such a vivid picture of Prospera. It's sleek architecture, advanced technology, it's a seemingly utopian society. But you can kind of sense these cracks beneath the surface.
Oh, absolutely. Like the support staff we talked about, they're denied those benefits of reiteration, and they live in the shadows. Their lives are basically dictated by the needs of those eternally useful prosperers.
Exactly.
It's a brilliant example of how the author uses the setting to highlight these inequalities and power dynamics that are at play in this society. The contrast between the Prosperan's pristine world and the support staff's harsh reality creates a sense of tension and unease, making you question the true cost of this so-called utopia.
Exactly. And it doesn't shy away from exploring the psychological impact of it all either. We see characters battling resentment, envy, this longing for something more than what their predetermined roles allow. It makes you think, even in a seemingly perfect world, human nature can't be completely suppressed.
It's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. You can try to force it, but it's never going to truly fit.
Right. And then there's this ever-present threat, the S3, the State Security Service. They're tasked with keeping order and suppressing any dissent in Prospera.
Ah, so they're like the enforcers of this supposed utopia.
Exactly. And their presence just adds this layer of paranoia and suspense. It's a reminder that even in paradise, there are always those who seek to control and manipulate others.
It's like a constant shadow hanging over everything, a reminder that true freedom might be an illusion.
Totally. It's like the author's telling us, don't be fooled by appearances. Even with eternal youth and all this advanced technology, there are still forces at work seeking power and control.
It's a cautionary tale wrapped up in a captivating story.
For sure. And the way the S3 is woven into the narrative, it's masterful. They're not just background figures. They're active players, their actions directly impacting Proctor and those around him.
So they're a tangible threat, a constant reminder that the stakes are high.
Exactly. And speaking of impact, let's talk about Thea. She's the young woman who triggers Proctor's forbidden memory. Her arrival sets off this chain of events that completely unravels his world, forcing him to confront the truth about his past, his place in this society, everything.
Thea's presence is like a catalyst, right? She disrupts the status quo, she challenges Proctor's assumptions, she awakens a longing within him for something more than the sterile existence he's been living.
Yes, and their relationship is so beautifully portrayed. It's not just romantic, it's a meeting of minds, a shared journey of awakening and rebellion. They see each other's souls, recognizing the potential for something greater within themselves and each other.
It's a powerful connection fueled by a shared desire for something more, something real.
Exactly. And as their relationship grows, they become a force to be reckoned with. They challenge the very foundation of Prosper, and they inspire others to question the narratives they've been told. But we'll delve more into that in the next part of our deep dive.
I can't wait. The way the author intertwines the personal and the political, the scientific and the spiritual, it's remarkable. The Ferryman offers something for everyone. Suspense, intrigue, romance, philosophical insights, and a glimpse into a future that's both tantalizing and terrifying.
It's true. And for those listening, we'd love to hear from you. What are your thoughts on reiteration? Would you hit that reset button if you could? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to The Deep Dive for more explorations of fascinating and thought-provoking topics.
So picking up where we left off, one of the things that really struck me about the Ferryman is how it handles the concept of memory, with reiteration, wiping the slate clean every 25 years. But the book hints that maybe not all memories are truly lost, like Proctor's forbidden memory, his dreams of Arrhenius. It's like these fragments are bunging up from somewhere deep within his subconscious.
It makes you wonder if our memories are more than just, data stored in our brains. What if they're somehow imprinted on our souls and carried with us from one lifetime to the next?
That's a fascinating idea, and the book really plays with that concept. It blurs the lines between past lives, dreams, and reality. It's almost like the author is suggesting that time isn't linear, that past, present, and future are all intertwined.
It's mind-bending, for sure, and it ties into the arrivalists' belief in a grand design. If reiteration is pushing humanity toward this collective consciousness, maybe those fragmented memories are glimpses of that interconnectedness.
What I find particularly intriguing is the idea that the Arrhenius mission, the one that was sent out to find a new home for humanity, might have inadvertently created this dream space where Prospera exists. It's almost like they stumbled upon a way to transcend the physical limitations of space and time, creating a new reality within the realm of consciousness.
And that raises so many questions. Is Prospera a refuge, a prison, or something in between? Are the Prosperans truly free if their lives are governed by this technology and the memories they're allowed to keep?
It makes you think about the trade-off we might be willing to make for a seemingly utopian existence. Would you sacrifice your individual memories, your history, for the promise of eternal youth and a world without suffering?
That's a tough one, and it's a question the book doesn't answer for us. It leaves it open for the reader to ponder. But getting back to Proctor, his journey is as much about uncovering the secrets of Arrhenius as it is about confronting his own past. The revelation that his mother is alive and has been secretly working to protect him adds a whole other layer of complexity.
The mother-son relationship is so compelling in this book. It's full of love, betrayal, sacrifice, and ultimately forgiveness. It makes you think about the lengths we would go to for those we love and how even the most well-intentioned actions can have unintended consequences.
Absolutely. And then there's the added layer of the S3, the State Security Service, always lurking in the shadows, watching, manipulating, controlling. They represent the forces of oppression seeking to maintain the status quo at any cost.
Their presence is a constant reminder that even in a seemingly utopian society like Prospera, power dynamics and the potential for abuse still exist. It makes you question who's really in control and whether true freedom is even possible within such a system.
It's chilling. And the way the author portrays the S3 is so effective. They're not just cartoon villains. They're complex characters with their own motivations and beliefs, which makes them even more frightening.
One of the things that struck me is how the author doesn't shy away from depicting the brutality and violence inherent in any system of oppression. The scenes where Proctor and Thea are pursued by the S3 are tense and suspenseful, but they also serve as a stark reminder of the price of freedom and the sacrifices that must often be made to achieve it.
It's intense. And it makes the stakes feel so real. You really get a sense of the danger Proctor and Thea are in and the courage it takes for them to stand up to these powerful forces.
And speaking of courage, let's talk about Thea. She's such a fascinating character. She arrives in Prospera seemingly by chance, but her presence ignites a spark within Proctor, awakening him to the possibility of a life beyond the confines of their controlled society.
I love Thea. She's strong, independent, and fiercely loyal to those she cares about. She's not afraid to challenge authority or to fight for what she believes in, even if it means putting herself in danger.
She's a true rebel, a catalyst for change, and she's not afraid to use her wits and her charm to get what she wants.
Right, she's not just a damsel in distress waiting for Proctor to save her. She's a full-fledged partner in crime, an equal player in their rebellion. And the way their relationship develops amidst all the chaos and danger is so believable and heartwarming.
Their love story adds a layer of warmth and hope in an otherwise bleak and dystopian setting. It's a reminder that even in the darkest of times, human connection and love can thrive.
And it's not just a romantic love story. It's also about the love between a mother and son, the love between friends, and the love for a greater good, a desire to create a better world for all.
I think that's one of the most powerful messages of the book, that love in all its forms is a force that can transcend boundaries, heal wounds, and inspire us to fight for a more just and compassionate world.
So true. And as Proctor and Thea's journey continues, they encounter a diverse cast of characters, each with their own motivations and complexities. There's Ona Proctor's former assistant, who's torn between her loyalty to the system and her growing awareness of its flaws. There's Quinn, the enigmatic member of the Arrivalist, who guides Proctor towards a deeper understanding of the Arrhenius technology and the realm of consciousness. And then there's Elise Proctor's housekeeper, whose true identity and allegiances are slowly revealed, adding another layer of intrigue and betrayal to the story.
The way the author develops these supporting characters is masterful. They're not just plot devices or cardboard cutouts. They're fully realized individuals with their own hopes, fears, and desires. And their interactions with Proctor and Thea add depth and nuance to the narrative, revealing the complexities of human nature and the challenges of navigating relationships in a world where trust is a precious commodity.
It's like a tapestry with each thread representing a different character weaving together to create a rich and vibrant portrait of this society.
And as the story unfolds, we see how each character is impacted by the reiteration process, how it shapes their perspectives, their relationships, and their destinies. Some, like the Prosperans, embrace it as a gift, a chance to live a life free from the burdens of aging and memory. Others, like the support staff, see it as a curse, a system that perpetuates inequality and robs them of their agency.
It's a powerful exploration of the ethical complexities of such a technology. The book doesn't offer easy answers. It presents both sides of the argument, forcing the reader to grapple with the potential benefits and consequences of reiteration.
And what's fascinating is how the author uses the concept of reiteration to explore the idea of second chances. Would we make different choices if we could wipe the slate clean every 25 years? Would we become better versions of ourselves, or would we simply repeat the same patterns, the same mistakes?
It's a question that resonates with all of us, I think, who hasn't wished for a do-over at some point in their lives. But as the book suggests, true growth and transformation come from confronting our past, learning from our mistakes, and integrating those experiences into who we are. Reiteration might offer a temporary escape from the consequences of our actions, but it doesn't necessarily lead to genuine self-awareness or lasting change.
And that's where the concept of dream space becomes so intriguing. If Prospera exists within a realm of consciousness created by the Uranio technology, then perhaps the reiteration process is more than just a physical phenomenon. Maybe it's also a spiritual journey, a process of soul growth and evolution that extends beyond the limitations of the physical body and the constraints of linear time.
That's a mind-blowing idea, and it opens up so many possibilities. What if we're all capable of accessing this dream space, this realm of consciousness, through our own inner exploration and spiritual practices? What if the key to unlocking our true potential and creating a better world lies not in external technology, but in our own inner transformation?
I think that's the ultimate message of the Ferryman. It's a call to awaken to our true nature as beings of consciousness, to question the narratives that have been imposed upon us, and to embrace our agency as co-creators of our reality.
Beautifully said. But as Proctor and Thea delve deeper into the mysteries of Uranios and the realm of consciousness, they face increasing danger and opposition. The S3 is closing in, determined to silence them and to protect the secrets of the reiteration process.
The tension builds with each chapter as Proctor and Thea race against time to expose the truth and to escape the clutches of those who seek to control them. The stakes are higher than ever, and the choices they make in these final moments will have profound repercussions, not only for their own lives, but for the future of humanity itself.
It's a heart-pounding climax that will keep you on the edge of your seat until the very last page. And the ending, well, let's just say it's one that will stay with you long after you've finished reading. But we'll save that discussion for the final part of our deep dive.
I can't wait. I'm eager to hear your thoughts on the ending and the book's overall message. It's a story that has resonated deeply with me, and I'm sure it will spark many insightful conversations and reflections among our listeners. You know, as we get into that final part of the Ferryman, one thing that I found really captivating was how the author manages to blend the personal struggles with these epic stakes, you know. Proctor's journey of, like, self-discovery and identity is, like, a reflection of this larger shift happening in Prospera as a whole.
Yeah, it's true. And the stakes just keep getting higher as he learns more about Uranios and, like, the true nature of reiteration.
And remember, we left up with Proctor and Thea facing this huge decision, like, how do they share this life-altering truth with the world, knowing how dangerous that would be? It's not just revealing a conspiracy. They'd be shattering the very foundation of their society, you know, everything they've ever known.
Right. It's a massive challenge. It's like trying to tell someone they've been living in, like, a simulation their whole life. Would they believe you? Would they even want to believe you?
And that's the dilemma they're facing. They have to be so careful about who they trust. One wrong move could not only cost them their lives, but it could jeopardize the whole movement.
Yeah, the tension is so thick in those final chapters.
It really is. It's like they're playing a high-stakes game of chess, trying to outsmart their opponents and stay one step ahead.
Oh, and the author is a master at building that suspense.
They are. You get these little clues and red herrings along the way. You're constantly guessing until your very end. Just when you think you've got it figured out, bam, another twist.
Totally. And the stakes get even higher when they uncover the truth about the designer. You know that mysterious figure behind the reiteration technology? Turns out they're not some benevolent genius after all.
Oh yeah, that was a huge reveal.
Right. It changes our whole understanding of reiteration. It goes from being this gift to being a tool for control and manipulation.
It's like a warning, Be careful who you trust, especially those who claim to have all the answers. Power can corrupt even with the best intentions.
It's true, and what I found so unsettling was how subtly the designer wove this web of control. It's not like some in-your-face tyranny. It's all about manipulating memories and beliefs, perceptions even. It's social engineering at its finest.
It is. It really makes you think about the ways we might be manipulated in our own world.
Oh, absolutely. Through media technology, all of it.
It's a chilling thought, and the book explores the psychological effects of that kind of manipulation, You see these characters grappling with their sense of self, their memories, even their perception of reality.
It's a powerful reminder that freedom is about more than just breaking free physically. It's about mental and emotional liberation.
Exactly. And as Proctor and Thea are trying to expose the designer, they run into all these moral dilemmas. How far are they willing to go? What lines are they willing to cross to achieve their goal? Does the end justify the means? It weighs on them, you can tell.
And there are no easy answers.
Not at all. The ethical complexities are really thought-provoking. It's not just a simple good versus evil situation.
Right, there are so many shades of gray.
And the characters are forced to make these really tough choices, knowing that their actions have these huge ripple effects.
And those consequences really hit home in the climax of the book. The final showdown between Proctor and Thea and their allies up against the S3 and the designer. It's massive in scale, but also incredibly personal.
It is. The fate of Prospera, the future of humanity, it all comes down to this.
It's a masterclass in storytelling. So much action, suspense, emotion. You're on the edge of your seat the whole time.
I know. And just when you think you know how it's all going to end, bam, the author hits you with this mind-blowing twist. The whole story, the world of Prospera, the reiteration process, the dream space, it's all a simulation.
I know. It completely reframes the entire narrative. You start questioning everything.
It does. It really does. And it makes you reevaluate the characters, their motions, even the nature of reality itself.
It's like the author saying, buckle up, because things are about to get really weird. And then they just pull the rug out from under you. It leaves you speechless.
But it's not just a gimmick. It serves a purpose. It makes you question everything you thought you knew, makes you realize just how limited our understanding of reality might be.
Exactly. And I think that's the beauty of it, It's a story that challenges us to think outside the box, to expand our consciousness, and to entertain the possibility that we're all part of something much bigger than we can even imagine.
And it leaves you with so many questions. What's the purpose of the simulation? Who created it? What happens to those who break free? It's like the author is giving you this key to a whole new universe of possibilities, inviting you to keep exploring.
It really does. It's one of those endings that sticks with you, makes you ponder those big existential questions.
It does, and I think that's what makes great science fiction so compelling. It not only entertains, it makes you think differently about the world and all its possibilities.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the Ferryman, we want to hear from you. What were your thoughts on that ending? Did it leave you satisfied, confused, intrigued? What do you think it all means?
We'd love to hear your take on the themes of memory, identity, freedom, the nature of reality. Did any character or scene particularly resonate with you?
Share your insights, your favorite moments, anything that's on your mind down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your fellow book lovers. Thanks for joining us.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the mysteries of the universe, both within and without.